Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So can this be compared with the performance of, rewriting the prover in terms of vectorized, uh, you know, kind of functions like that takes supports from AVX2 or any GPU vectorization, etc.?
Yeah, so that's a different way to sort of make programs run more efficiently. If you have more cores, if you have more, so generally the way that the computer, the way that like people have tried to make computers run faster is we add more resources, we add more cores, that's one approach, or we add more logic to a core so that we can do more pipelining, we can sort of superscalar execution, all these kinds of things. In our case, like we don't really have that as something that's available to us because the number of constraints for the proving system is already really, really high in order to implement just the bare bones sort of risc-v instruction set. And so vectorization would be something that would be interesting to try to make things run faster. But in our case, it's not really like memory access doesn't really cost anything in the proving system. Vectorized instructions wouldn't really give us much benefit because really when we convert the software, we convert the set of instructions into the set of constraints that are run through the proving system, the performance characteristics change quite a bit compared to like traditional computation. So for the execution phase, right, the place where I'm basically just running every instruction in sequence, yes, there's a potential for making that phase go faster if I had vectorized instructions or if I had multiple cores or something like that. But the very large sort of bottleneck isn't really the execution, it's the proving. And the proving takes a lot of memory, it takes a lot of computation. And so really the trick is to make proving go faster, we have two main things that we can do. One is we can try to reduce the number of cycles in our program. So like just have less cycles essentially. Vectorization doesn't necessarily give you less cycles. It just kind of combines multiple operations into a single instruction. It's kind of what vectorization is about, right? It's like single instruction, multiple data. That's kind of the idea there. And again, the accessing data within the proving system doesn't really cost anything. So we wouldn't expect to see a big benefit from like single instruction, multiple data in the proving system. And then the other approach would be like multiple cores, but again, that would just be lots more constraints. I suspect that, multiple cores wouldn't really be a way to make the proving system perform any better. And so we don't really have those two traditional tools at our disposal. We really want to reduce the number of cycles or do this kind of splitting technique where we can now run each of the proofs, each segment independently. We can run each when we go to prove each segment, we can have it run in a different on a different machine or different hardware, and that's the main part that we're trying to parallelize. So it's not really parallelization of the program or the instructions or like anything that developers are normally familiar with. It's more like we want to parallelize the proving part of it, the most expensive part of the process. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So my question was different. So like when you create this session, right? And then the prover will be like, you can invoke multiple prover at the same time on a same single machine. And since prover will be on x86, it will like use all the codes and everything available to it to prove the things, right? And you can do the same thing by porting prover to AVX, like something like that, right? Like your prover basically has a lot of functions which can be done in parallel manner, right? So how does those two speed up of the proving process itself are compared?
I see. So you're talking about on the proving side. On the proving side, is there ways that we can make use of AVX or parallelization techniques of the host, the host machine, whether it's a GPU or a multi-core machine or a machine with AVX instructions, all that kind of stuff. So we have this thing called the HAL. This is unrelated to continuations, by the way. So this is just purely the proving system has the ability to basically run the most heavy parts of the computation on different kinds of accelerators. So for instance, yeah, AVX I would consider as a kind of accelerator. We don't really make use of AVX specifically because the proving system typically, normally, things like machine learning benefit pretty well from things like AVX because you can pack the data in such a way that I can access, like I could do one computation across an entire sort of cell, nearby cells very quickly. And there's a way to sort of pack the data to be able to do that. In the case of the proving system, there's a whole lot of random access that's hard to predict where. It's hard to make sure that they all align. Like we do a technique where we pivot. Normally you have rows and columns. We kind of flip everything around, so we have columns and rows. They kind of get pivoted so that we can get better cache coherency and get better sort of instruction parallelism. But the way that we handle all that is that we have this HAL, which is this hardware abstraction layer, and the idea is that we write a backend kernel either for GPUs or even for the CPU. On the CPU side, what we end up doing is using Rayon, which allows us to run lots of threads in parallel. So we're using core parallelism. We're not really using instruction level parallelism because again, it's kind of we'd have to arrange for the polynomial constraints to be executed in a way that's amenable to AVX. So we haven't. I think that's probably something we could do. We haven't yet looked into that too deeply, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. But again, this is kind of independent of continuations. It's just kind of how do you make the proving system itself? Once you have a single segment, how do you make that thing run really fast? Yeah, there's lots of ways that we can make use of GPUs and things like that. We're more likely IO bound than we are computation bound. So this is why GPUs end up giving us quite a bit of benefit versus something like FPGAs or like AVX or things like that, because it's really, there's a lot of memory that we have to access in a random fashion, and it's hard to kind of coalesce these reads and writes into a cache hierarchy. We don't really benefit from cache hierarchies too much because we always the accesses are there's too many accesses in order to fit within a single cache. So I believe that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.